Hello everybody for the hopefully final time today, unless I just decide to go completely insane and upload a fourth one. Welcome to the final battle replay of this DLC period. Today I am playing as Dryka, as the Wargrove of Woe, and I'm using a bunch of her new unique units, and I'm going against the Heralds of Errol, being played once again by Sakeo. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Probably not, let's be honest, I'm not very good at languages, I can barely speak English. Again, if you want to check out his channel, he's a Spanish Total War YouTuber, so, you know, links in the description if you want to check out all that. I've said it like 3 times today, so, you know, just have a look. I'd really appreciate him, I'm sure so would he. So yes, let's just go over my army composition. I'm bringing 3 units of the giant spiders. I'm going to try and use these guys to get around into the back lines and rip into pieces. I'm also bringing a bunch of the malevolent dryads, which are the unique dryads to this specific faction. Of course, I'm being led by Dryka. There she is. Oh, she's so pretty. Of course, I'm bringing some of the malevolent treekin, which that guy looks happy as hell. Look at him, easy. Oh, he's cute. Anyway, yes, I'm bringing a bunch of the malevolent treekin, and the only difference between these guys and the base unit is that they have frenzy, to be honest with you. So, yeah, they're pretty cool. I like them. Over on this side, more malevolent dryads and treekin. And I also have Codil, because after seeing how much he slapped my shit when I was playing as Clan Mulder, I was like, I want a piece of that. This guy, fantastic. Great damage, great spellcaster, fabulous unit. I'm also bringing some cave bats. They're basically like fell bats, but a little bit better. And I'm also bringing some of the new giant wolves units, which are multicolored and just so adorable and really, really good. On the enemy side, he is bringing 2 units of Wildwood Rangers and 2 units of the new Blade Singers. Of course, he's bringing Queen Errol, because why wouldn't you? And the Enigmas of Giran, which are the new Regiment of Renown Zote units. Of course, he's being led by the Sisters of Twilight on their standard Eagle mounts. Look at them. They'd just be straight vibing on there. He's bringing a bunch of the new cav, that is 2 units of Great Stag Knights, along with the new Glade Captain, which is actually free LC, so you'll be able to get that by using Total War Access, which you should, because it's free. He's also using the new Glade Rider Spears units, which are also free LC. They will be added as long as you own the Realm of the Wood Elves DLC prior to this. And also the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart, which are the new Regiment of Renown Dryads. So let's get into this one. Now, as you can see from this map, it's kind of got 3 lanes to get into this central area. So what I was trying to do is just move all my units up to attack on 3 fronts, which is kind of ambitious. Well, I'm an ambitious lad. Have you seen the upload schedule? It is in the description. Yeah, that's pretty ambitious if you ask me. Unfortunately, a lot of my giant spiders do end up getting caught out over here, and versus this cav, yeah, they're not having the best time losing decisively, so that could be going slightly better. But nevertheless, I'm pursuing and continuing, and many words that mean the same thing, with my advance up here. Now, the Blade Singers will absolutely slaughter my dryads, but the malevolent treekin might be okay. Now, unfortunately, these guys have magical attacks, so they should be doing a lot of damage to the Blade Singers. Of course, you know, they can get healed by Apotheosis, which isn't the best. And when Queen Errol comes to help, that certainly hurts too. And when the Zotes come to help, that hurts times 3. Over on this side, we're not doing too bad. Now the Sisters of Errol, the Sisters of Twilight, are doing a bunch of damage of those massive explosive attacks. Over on the other side, over here, we are doing pretty decently, to be honest with you. You know, there was only the 1 unit of Wildwood Rangers come to attack me, so I'm melting through them with Codil, my treekin, and my 2 units of Dryads, of course. Now moving in the Cave Bats to take on the Sisters of Twilight. Now, I am under no false pretenses that these guys can win against the Sisters of Twilight. I'm just literally sending them again to keep her busy. There is a massive cav charge on my rear here, so, you know, straight to the back of all my Dryads and treekin, and fortunately Dryka's protected. But yeah, that is seriously going to... I should really cast a spell. I kind of forgot about magic for the first half of this battle. I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of like remembered it halfway through and was like, oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, what have I got left? The giant spiders over here, they have just about come back. So I'm going to try and pull them in to assist me further. I decided to put these guys in to attack the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart, which I think he may have forgotten about for the majority of this battle, which, you know it happens to us. It happens to me. But I've just said I forgot about magic, you know. I'm not saucing. I'm just saying what I think happened. But yes, I try and send these guys in, and that was a stupid idea. They can't beat him. The little spoiler there for you, they can't. Now using the giant wolves in to attack the backs of the enemy lines here, just, you know, surround them. Because even if they're not doing a lot of damage, surrounding an enemy unit cripples their leadership so much. So there we go. On the 1, 2, and 3 flanks, the Wildwood Rangers are certainly going to feel the pain. They are shattering almost immediately from being attacked in the back and being attacked by this many other units. The treekin over here actually holding fairly strong against Queen Errol and the Blade Singers. The Cave Bats, they're not doing too well against the Sisters of Twilight. You know, they sure are feeling the burn. And now that they've got stuck down here, they're fighting against Blade Singers and the Enigmas of Giran, which that's just straight up not where they want to be, homie. Dryka herself is just kind of stuck in the middle of all of this and is trying her best to fight against these Great Stag Knights and the Glade Captain and everything else that's surrounding her. She does not want to get surrounded and taken out this early, and that would be detrimental to the outcome of this battle. Codil has handily finished off the remainder of the Wildwood Rangers, and he's now chasing them down because I haven't given him any new orders, which is unfortunate. There we go. I've just realized. Okay, now bringing him back in because I want him to fight against all these guys. Because just have a little tiny peek at that weapon damage and that bonus versus large, that melee attack. 87 melee attack on a large target. Are you freaking kidding me? That is bananas, as well as a bunch of spells. There we go. A massive Pit of Shades on the Blade Singers, the Great Stag Knights, and the Glade Rider Spears. And then another massive cast on those Wildwood Rangers. They are feeling the burn. There is my Malevolent Dryads summoned from Dryka surrounding the Glade... Who is it? It's surrounding someone. Yeah, the Glade Rider Spears. There we go. I was right the first time. I should have faith in myself. And they are breaking very, very quickly indeed. Now I can see that Codil, along with the Malevolent Shrieking, are fighting against these Great Stag Knights and a couple of units of Blade Singers. And yeah, they're doing pretty well there. Now I'm just kind of trying to consolidate my forces. The final confrontation is all coming down to this big bundle right here. You know, some Shrieking of retreat, I need to bring back in. Dryads of retreat, I need to bring back in. Everything relies on in this massive section right here. The Sisters of Twilight continuing to fire on Dryka. Very rude, honestly. I don't appreciate it all. Dryka she just straight up got laid out. That wasn't any good. As you can see, the Great Stag Knights are just locked down. Now, this is really not a good situation for them because they are stuck in melee and they will take a lot of damage if they get stuck in melee because their melee defense is so poor. Yes, they have great weapon damage and decent melee attack, but melee defense on units like these guys, it's just not the best, so they get evaporated when they get pinned down. These Zotes, they're doing just fine, to be honest with you. They ain't got enough to worry about. I don't know what they're chasing down. Some units of Dryads. Have fun. There we go. My cave spiders have given up on the old giant spiders. Whoopsie daisy. Probably should have not ever done that to begin with, but you know, you live and learn with these things. There we go. Codil is now focusing down. No, never mind. He's completely ignoring Queen Ariel. He's moving on to the Glade Captain, whereas everything else is focusing on Ariel. And good lord, look at her go. She is remarkable. She is so strong. The problem is when she moves around like that, all of the units kind of take a second to catch up to her. So she ends up getting like a couple 3 hits in, and you know, getting out of a situation where she's surrounded. Look at those fantastic varied attacks coming out from the Sister of Twilight. She moved on to the multi-shot now, and there we go. That's a single focus shot onto Codil. A lot of damage there. Another cast of Pit of Shades by myself onto those Great Stag Knights, and also the Enigmas of Giran. They're starting to feel the burn. There we go. These single target shots coming out on Codil. But he's just going to use the Power of Darkness, get some more magic, and get some more casts out on the field. Some of my cave bats haven't managed to return, and we'll keep the Sister of Twilight busy for a couple of seconds while I just try and buy myself some time on the ground. You can see here that I'm just trying to pin down Ariel, trying to take her out as much as I possibly can. I just think, you know what, if I can take out Ariel, they really don't have that much of a presence on the ground. And then after they've done that, you know, if everything else breaks on the ground, the Sister of Twilight either have to come down and fight me, or they will lose this fight. So my priority target right now is Ariel. As you can see, some giant spiders, they didn't quite get the memo. They're chasing after some Zotes, and you know what, that's just fine. Now I can see that Dryka actually moved out to go after Ariel, whereas everything else just stood around because they're, I don't know, because I'm stupid. There we go, I gave the order. There we go, I did it. And the Sister of Twilight moved in, hoping to just try and take me out as quickly as possible, but Dryka will not go down that easy. She has resistances up the wazoo, and armor, and great melee attack, and defense. 87 melee attack. Good lord, that is ridiculous, man. There we go. Ariel is surrounded once more by a bunch of units, and we just need to take her out as quickly as possible. There's a secondary fight going on over here. The Wraiths of the Frozen Heart Dryads have finally come back, and I'm just trying to take them out with my Treekin and my Dryads, and also a unit of Giant Wolves moving in. Just anything that I can get to take them out. I believe this is a buff by Ariel. I can't remember, honestly, to be honest, Chief. Yes, it's Soul Steal, so she's now gaining health from all these guys while they're all losing health, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but you know, it's just one of those things. I have just cast the Withering on her to get rid of all of her armor. She still has some physical resist, but a lot of our units do magical damage, so they will be going straight through that. So now she's starting to take some serious hits. She's below 3,000 health, just a little bit more, but then she gets knocked all the way back again, so all my units now have to catch up to her, which is a little bit annoying. You'd think with the new knockdown changes she'd be a lot harder to knock down, but apparently not. There we go, the Cave Bats coming in for one final stand, this time going for Ariel, as with every unit in the faction. That shot barely missing Dryka. She's very fortunate because she's down to her last 1,300 HP. We have managed to win the battle that is over on the, whatever flank is this? The north flank, I suppose it would be. And I'm now chasing down the majority of the remainder of those units just to get them off the battlefield and, you know, try and get army losses as best I can. Now Queen Ariel is totally surrounded and she is down to her last 100 HP. And believe she has she just fallen? Yes, she has. And that is the nail in the coffin. As I said, taking her out meant that they faced army losses, which meant that the Sister of Twilight just immediately lost the battle. But nevertheless, a very close battle. Dryka is fantastic. In fact, all the factions I've played are fantastic. It's just, there's no other words. They're just great. I really like them. Now, moving on to the value, let's start with Dryka. Nearly 12,000 damage, but only 2,500 damage value. I mean, I say that like it's a bad thing. That is really good damage value, and she was fighting against large units the majority of the time. Like, she was fighting against Great Stag Knights and Aerial for a lot of that, so that's a pretty decent amount of value. Codil, of course, nearly 16,000 damage and 3,500 damage value. That boy is bananas. He does so much work for you. Get him in every single army that you can, because, good lord, look at those numbers. Fantastic. Now, of course, the Dryads, not the best units in the world, so, you know, the value, the highest that we got is 677. Not too bad. The Cave Bats, they did no damage between them. They were focusing the Sister of Twilight the entire time. I was kind of hoping they'd have a few more range units I could send them after. That's why I had all these units. In fact, pretty much the Giant Wolves to the Cave Bats were pretty much meant for going after his backline, which he didn't have. So I kind of had to improvise there. But yes, they kept the Sisters busy. So even though they didn't get much damage value, I think in stalling value, they did very well. Because, you know, a couple more of those shots and Dryka might not be here. And then we might not have won. The Cave Spiders, that one unit, absolutely annihilated. 88 damage value. Yep, that felt bad. 604 on those guys. And then 471. The majority of that, I imagine, will have been on those Wraiths of the Frozen Heart Dryads. So not too great, but again, I was hoping for some backline and I didn't get it, so I had to improvise, okay? The Giant Wolves, however, they did a lot of chasing down, so they got a ton of value. 1,500 damage value right there. That is great, as well as 98 kills. 645 and 452, not the best, but again, no backline, so I couldn't really use them. The only thing I'd use them for is charging the backs, which isn't really these guys' purpose, or, you know, chasing units down, which they did to a certain extent. Now for the Treekin. Not too bad, 940 with 5,500 damage. Pretty admirable performance there. I believe those were probably the ones that were fighting with Aerial, the Zotes, and the Blade Singers in the middle. So that would explain why they got so much value and so much damage. Moving on to the Heralds of Aerial, starting with the Sisters of Twilight. There we go, 12,000 damage, literally pretty much all of that from being in the air, and 2,233 damage value. Now, the majority of that will have been on Dryka and Codil, purely because they're single entity targets, and she was firing on them for that entire battle, so very well done there. The Glade Captain, a actual impressive amount of damage value there for the amount of damage that she actually dealt. I believe she was also focused on my large target, so that'll explain why she has so much value for, you know, such a reasonable amount of damage dealt. But very good focus in there. I just didn't really have anything that could take her out, to be honest. Nothing that was fast enough and strong enough. Queen Aerial, as usual, putting in work. Nearly 20,000 damage dealt and 2,700 damage value. She is bananas, guys. Get her as soon as you can. Her and Codil, if you can get them, imagine if you could get them in the same army. I might have to try that sometime. Get them in the same army, rip-a-roni to whoever you are going against, alright? Ridiculous amounts of damage. Now, the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart, not too bad. Again, they will find my spiders the majority of the time and then got chased down by the time they got here. So, you know, 553 damage value, that's pretty good. 996 on these Wildwood Rangers. That's a decent amount of damage. You know, 9,000 damage. That is very well. I don't know what they were fighting against. They must have been fighting against either Dryka and all her units, or the ones on the right, which are fighting against Codil and all his units. So either way, they're going against high value targets right there. The other units only 348 damage value, which is fine. I mean, they got annihilated. One side of them got, in fact, they're probably the side that got annihilated. These guys were probably fighting against Dryka. That makes the most sense. The Blade Singers, you know, putting in fantastic amounts of work. 9,000 damage there and 14,000 damage there. But again, the value just isn't incredible because they were fighting against Dryads, which are pretty cheap. And they had magical attacks, so the amount of damage that these guys can do to something that doesn't have magical attacks is insane. They can just slaughter everything, but if the unit does have magical attacks, it doesn't have to be that good a unit, and they can get straight through them because they have such little armor. The Glade Rider Spears, they were pretty much taking out my spiders and wolves and charging my backs that entire time. So, you know, 670 and 284 value, not too shabby. The Great Stag Knights, of course, a little bit more, about 730-ish average between them two. So definitely not too bad at all. And finally, the Enigmas of Garen, which are the Zotes, nearly 13,000 damage and 12,500 damage value. So certainly nothing to scoff at right there. But yes, GG. Thank you one more time to Aura de Saqueo, who is a Spanish Total War YouTuber. Again, just please check out his channel. It's linked in the description as well as his Twitch. Tell him that I sent you. I would appreciate that very, very much. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then be sure to leave it a like. I know it's the third video today. You know, I'd really appreciate it. I put a lot of work into these videos today, you know, to try and get 3 out in one day. It's pretty ambitious. I've never done it before. So I really hope you appreciate the efforts. If you want to see more videos, we are still covering the DLC. Don't worry, we are not even close to being done. We have 3 more faction overviews, as well as a review coming on the 1st of December, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe so you do not miss it, and hit that bell notification on all that funky stuff. Yes, I believe that is everything. Thank you one more time for watching, and for now, I've been COLONELDAMNEDERS, and I'll see you next turn.